What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you...
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my Friday morning/early afternoon show. It's my pleasure today to have on air with us Laura Hess Curtin, who actually is a wildlife artist, located in California. So since she's on the line, without further ado, let's get her on and start chatting with her. Good afternoon, Laura.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing really well,
wonderful.
thank you.
Oh, my gosh, you sound so much healthier than the last time I talked to you.
Oh, I know. I got a special present for Christmas this year, a nice little cold.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And I assume that your husband is feeling better now as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're all getting much better. These cold.
And, of course, you live in California and I live in Wisconsin, so you guys have the nicer weather and we have snow right now. I'm sitting here looking out my snowy window as you guys are probably having your much nicer temperatures there, so I'm kind of envious of you right now. I am. But today's an excellent opportunity to have an interview like this. I'm very, very excited to have you on the show, so thank you so very much for finding the time to come on. And, of course, thanks to Michelle McGee, before I forget, lovely publicist that she is, for arranging this for us. I have a plethora of questions for you. I want to kind of just start off with talking, maybe if you could disclose to us your journey from childhood on to becoming the seasoned artist that you are now.
I have been asked something similar before, how I became an artist, and I had to really think about it, because when I start thinking about being an artist, I always remember, I just always did it. You know, I was always an artist. I'm not always painting or doing drawings, or there was no specific time when I was not doing some artwork. So I don't know about the journey of it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You know, I took some medication today for my cold, and I'm having a little trouble concentrating. So.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'll make it a little bit easier for you as far as that goes. Like, for instance, now when you were a child, obviously every particular artist has their different particular journey. So, I mean, were you, at the age of 5, 6 years of age, grabbing every kind of thing that you can possibly pick up and drawing or sketching? Or how did you find the formulation of that coming together? I mean, was it something that you had to envelop into, or was it something that you had as a child to begin with?
Well, I did artwork when I was small, but the first time that I didn't do a lot of artwork through school and high school and things. I was more into the theater department in high school, and when I was in my 20s is when I really started wanting to paint. When I was 19 or 20, my mom has a bookkeeping business, and one of her clients owned an art gallery, and I wanted to start painting with the art gallery. And when they opened up a class, that's when I started. But I just, I knew that if I could get to a class, I could paint. So that's basically how I started.
Oh, I gotcha. And at that particular time, was this something that your parents were intuitive to, meaning that they thought, oh, you know what, our daughter is going to become an artist someday. I can see it. She's got the knack for it. Were they enhancing and encouraging this from little on?
Well, that's kind of an interesting question. Well, my mom basically, was always encouraging of whatever, kind of anything that we kids wanted to do, but I had an interesting childhood. It was not conducive really to being I don't know if it was conducive to being an artist or not, but I'm sorry, I'm having a little problem.
Are you okay?
I'm just having a little problem today. I don't know. Yes, I'm okay.
Okay. That's fine. Just take your time.
So I guess I just have a little bit more cold left in me than I did before.
I can see that. Yes, I was a little concerned about you feeling up to par for doing it, actually, but I thought, well, we'll give it a shot here and see how it goes.
I know, and I'm usually not like this, honest.
That's okay.
Talk my
People
way around anything.
That.
I don't know. It's very interesting to me to have this, to be stopped up in my head and then have it not, being stopped up in my mouth too, because I can usually talk your ear off.
Sure.
So
that's kind of what I figured. No,
I know. I just
sometimes these things happen, actually, and sometimes I find when I've been interviewing other musicians, other artists, there have been particular individuals that have said, my parents were the first ones to say, no, art in all of its forms are just not a reliable income. It's not something that's going to be substantially financially feasible over the course of time. I guess I'm curious whether they were kind of leaning towards, we wanted to do something that's a little more reliable with their life profession.
Well, there wasn't a lot of encouragement in my family. It's that's why I was even thinking about this earlier. If I had to, if I was ever asked this question, it would be a difficult one for me to answer, is because my childhood was not one of the easiest childhoods. And I'm sure a lot of artists and people, a lot of people have that, growing up. And I grew up in the 60s and it was a little different back then. And basically, the kids in my family, we all kind of survived our childhood. And so we were trying to get out of the house more than anything else. And that's one of the things that has been so kind of amusing to me at this point is that, there was never any focus on trying to be anything when I was growing up. We were just, I didn't have a focus of what I was going to be when I grew up or, be an artist. And I went to work for my mom when I was in my 20s and as an income tax person. And really that's, where I stayed is at the office and where I've been 32 years. But recently I've developed kind of an ambition to be an artist, this late in my life. Now on my own, finally, I've decided, well, it's time for me to be the artist that I've always been my whole life, but I've never been encouraged to be. Sorry.
That's okay.
So that's kind of how it happened to be, an artist.
I gotcha. And, of course, obviously, I think you kind of touched on a point there. Most of us who are artists of any kind of genre have come from that sort of thing where they've had issues in terms of with family or with relationships and things like that. And I do think it enhances a creative spirit. I definitely am an advocate for that. I think that you need that in part to be able to kind of – do you find that your experiences from that at all, have they played a part in your art, do you feel?
But it could be. I've always been – a little more, I don't know if I was more or less or, I just am what I am, but I'm very introspective and I'm very hyper alert or aware of my surroundings, which also either enhances my desire to see things. I like to look at things. I like to look at all the little parts of it. Like if I'm looking at trees or leaves or fur or anything, I like to see the edges of it, the light on it, the things like that. And I think some of that comes from having to, be aware all the time.
Sure.
So.
I gotcha. I got it. I wanted to touch base with you on this. Now, I understand, obviously, you've been painting for over 25 years. I want to ask if there's ever been a point in your career where you discovered that your painting style has taken somewhat of a transition.
It developed. It did develop. I started out as painting, like when I started that class when I was doing the bookkeeping, and I went to my first class. The teachers at that point, we would all sit and do the same painting that she was doing, and she'd demonstrate the tree or, the bark or the background, and then we'd all paint the same thing. So, starting out, it was that I would paint lots of landscapes and the seascapes and learning how to do mixing paints and things like that. And then I really liked people. I really thought that it would be great to do portraits, and so I was doing portraits for a while and had portrait teachers. I did pastels, and then I had a portrait teacher that had these special brushes to do like hair. And once I started using those brushes for hair, and I could see in that hair the fur, I was like I was a goner. And then
really,
that's when I switched over to doing, because I just, I love animals. I love the way they look and all the differences, and there's just so many. You have such a big group of things you can paint, from turtles to monkeys. And when I started using that brush, I really did find myself. I felt comfortable. I felt like I was doing what I was really like to do, was to paint this fur and these animals and their eyes, and create places in the world that maybe aren't really there, but they're there somewhere in my mind, especially. I would see this picture in my mind, and then I have to put it all together, and so it's an interesting kind of a transition from the first trees that I painted to the animals that I paint now.
Oh, certainly, I bet. Do you find that you ever have moments where you've found yourself having a lack of inspiration, maybe something similar to a writer's block?
Yes, it does. It's really nice when the paintings come to me and I see something and it makes something trigger in my mind, and it's like, oh yeah. Like I saw on Facebook the other day, there was this picture of a little alpaca with a smile on its face, and it's like, oh my gosh, someplace I'm going to have to paint, this alpaca. But before that, sometimes I really struggle to think of what can I paint next that I haven't painted before, because if I left it up to me, I'd paint monkeys and gorillas and cats. That's probably, if I would just keep painting those over and over again, because I like them, but people want to see different things, so I'm always trying to think, what should I paint that would be interesting, that would interest me and other people. And yes, sometimes it's a real struggle to get something in my head, and eventually I'll just pick something, and in that process it may change to a different thing, because while I'm looking for inspiration for, let's say, an eagle, then I'll see some hawk or something else similar or different and go, oh no, that's it. And it's like, whooshoo, because it's terrible not to have something coming up in my next painting. I'm finishing a painting, I'm almost done, I can see I've got a couple of more days to go, and I don't have anything else in my mind. Yes, I imagine it is like writer's block.
That's kind of what I thought it might be similar to, but I'm the writer, you're the artist, and so obviously you can do something I can't do, so I'm like, I know those moments of frustration where you're just on the brink of something, but you just can't get there, and it is immensely frustrating, of course. Might there be some point in time that your creations will divert to maybe a different genre, or have you attempted that before in the past?
I haven't seen a change coming like that. I wonder myself too if I have something else in me, some other type of like artistic work would be in, and I just don't, not yet, let's just say. I don't see that right now. I love my animals. I love the places that they end up on my canvas, and the colors that they are. So. And oils, I love oil paints. I love the way it smells. I love the way it is on the brushes. I like the way that if I don't like it, I can paint over it. I can move it around. I've had some of my paintings compared to like airbrushing, they're unable to tell that it's like an oil painting or something. It's just, I love oil painting. I don't see myself changing to something else, but who knows? You know, I make cards for my husband for his birthday and Christmas and things, and that's kind of fun, but I don't see it as you know, what I'll be doing.
I understand. I had made note of the fact that I see you are an active participant in continuing your education, obviously, to tweak your talents. I was curious to ask, how often do you embark on actual classroom time, and would you encourage other artists to do the same?
I belong to an art gallery in Huntington Beach. It's the same art gallery that I started at when I was 20. They have moved from where their original place is, and but they're still in Huntington Beach. And there's many artist teachers that have come through there, and there's actually been 2 or 3 owners since I've been going there, and it's been very beneficial for me to have some place to be with fellow artists. Now, everybody needs instruction, some type of instruction, just to learn something new, and even if it's to learn that you don't like to do it. You know, if you don't like I used to do the portraits, and you know, I kept doing portraits, and I would go to class, and I was pretty good at it, but you know, I didn't like doing portraits. But I would encourage everybody to get instruction of some type in whatever kinds of. It's just a shortcut. You know, you can learn how to mix paints, or how the canvas works, or how a medium works when you want to use it to mix in your paints, or no matter, you know, if you're a photographer, everybody needs a shortcut, or just somebody, like a visual artist, have somebody show you something. You know, you're probably learning a lot faster than if you had to read it or figure it out for yourself.
Yes, I would definitely advocate that as well, actually. For those that don't know, obviously, Laura is a resident of Southern California. I wanted to ask you, maybe if you could discuss a bit how you personally feel the impact of art affects your community in your area as maybe compared to, like, New York or other individual places where art is in the masses, obviously. And in addition to which, like here in the state of Wisconsin, I know that our art programs are suffering and that there's just not enough funds to enhance the art community. And I wonder what it's like in your neck of the woods.
Well, I know that there's major cutbacks in the schools, and there's the programs that they take away are the art programs for the kids. And I know that the theater program that I used to enjoy so much when I was in high school, there's not there anymore either. California here, I imagine everybody thinks about their own state, but we really have our economy is really bad. They're always promising us if we don't vote ourselves higher taxes that, you know, that they're going to take away another part of the kids' education, the better stuff, you know, the entertaining parts of their education. They're just going to leave the academics. And I know that the kids, I don't have any small children, but I know that the kids are hurting. And if they want to go to some place to have, that you have to find a special school if you have artistic children. There are some special schools in our area, like the High School of Performing Arts. It's in Santa Ana, and I know some children that have gone there where they focus on academics, but they also really focus on the arts and theater and painting and ceramics. And, you know, if you really want to do something like that for your kids, you have to search it out on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In fact, it's an unfortunate reality of how things are nowadays as it relates to the arts, and it might almost be, you know, worldwide here at this particular point in time. Do you feel that most of your opportunities artistically have come within your own community, or do you find it to be in these different places?
I think my opportunity is making my own opportunity. You mean for my own artwork?
Correct.
Is that what you're talking about? Yes.
Yes.
I've never really tried to. At one point in my art career, I tried to do a lot more with my artwork, and I entered shows and set up shows, and I went to. There's some places where you can join groups of artists, and then you just have shows with other artists. But I really never tried to have my artwork out there for people to see until now, until recently. I think I saw something somewhere, and it said, "I am," and then it had a blank. And when I saw that, I thought, I am an artist. That's what I put in the blank. And that really is just recently that I've started, realizing that this is it. That in the art world, if I want to be recognized as an artist, it's now or never. And in order to do that, I must make my own opportunities around. Now, for a wildlife artist in Southern California, maybe not so much, unless you go into the mountain areas or something, because around in this area, you're more likely to have success with if you're painting ocean scenes and the coastlines and things, because that's what the galleries around here in Laguna Beach and Newport Beach, they're at the beach, and their tourist attraction is the ocean. So with the internet now, you can offer your work to anywhere in the world. So the opportunity to sell artwork now, I think, is much greater than it was when I first started when I was 20. Much more opportunities.
That's absolutely wonderful for people like yourself, and obviously even the ones that are up-and-coming sort of artists, because they're not limited to just their own community. There are so many social medium areas and ways to be able to get your stuff out there, which I think is amazing, of course, definitely. I find it interesting, of course, that I know that your bookkeeping business is a family affair, and so is your art, apparently, as your son Daniel serves as your graphic designer.
Yes.
I wanted you to maybe provide to the audience how he became incorporated into Laura's Wildlife.
Well, Dan's an amazing artist on his own. He's been a graphic designer for probably 15 or more years, and he has been just like I wouldn't be doing this interview if it hadn't been for our collaboration on getting this stuff started. When I decided that I was going to do this push, and he wanted to help, and he's doing the websites. He has a business, nice graphics, and he's been in the business of doing logos and building brands for the last 15 years, and so. He used to be a gamer, one of those kids that sat around and you couldn't get him away from the games. And then he grew up some, and now he's using that same intense focus that he used to play these games. He's turned that to me and my websites, and not just he's not just working on artwork and graphic design anymore. Now he's all into the SEO, the search engine optimization, and figuring out which words on my page are the highest searched words. So he changes, the descriptions of my paintings. I mean, he brought my website up from like in the 12 million to now it's up in the 5 million, which is, I guess that's good. It's still, he's brought it up like 7 million in the search engine, like when people are Googling it or something. So he's just really focused on learning how to do even PR work. It's partly PR plus, this whole computer, social media, and how to get your stuff out there, no matter what kind of product you have. So it's been a real learning education for him. So
now I wanted to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, dear.
That's okay.
Curious to ask if you happen to have anyone in your family, any siblings or otherwise, who actually work within your field or share the creative spirit that you do.
My sister is a RN, and she's an emergency room nurse. She's a charge nurse in one of the most difficult areas that we have in Southern California, out in Riverside County in San Bernardino. She gets a lot of adrenaline rush out there, not a lot of art rush. We all have. I have another brother that's about a year older than I am, and he has a used bookstore in Orange, California. But both of them draw. Both of them have quirky. Like my brother draws like cartoon kind of things, and he does videos. He's actually doing a video of for me right now of doing how to paint cat's eyes. I'm going to put some videos on my website. So he's doing the videos for me for that. And yeah, we're all kind of artistic, but they didn't go for it. They both have other jobs, just like I do. With the tax business, I've been here. This will be my 33rd tax year coming up.
I noticed that you had cited that. Actually, I wanted to touch upon it just a little bit. Maybe if you could elaborate on how you actually became incorporated. I know it's a family business, but how did you actually venture into that, and how did that become a reality for you?
When my mom had this business, she started it in 1960 out of our home in Westminster when we moved to Westminster, and then she moved to this shopping center that we're at right now in 1964. So she started the business when this area wasn't even developed yet. It was mostly farms and fields and things back in the early 60s like that. And when one year, I think I was around 22, I believe, and one of the ladies that worked for her had quit unexpectedly during tax season, and she asked if I could come please help. Then I never left. It just was easy, kind of, to work for my mom. Tax season is a 3.5-month deal, really, where you work intensely, 70, 80 hours a week for those few months, and then the rest of the year you kind of don't have that as much work as you did during tax season. So I would be able to do the tax season, and then after that I could paint the rest of the year. I paint right here at my work. I just set up my easel. My office has a lot of windows and overhead lighting, so it's a nice it's a nice place to studio-wise to paint. So the rest of the year, when my clients will drop in on me, I'll be sitting behind my desk with my easel pulled up, and I use my desk for my palette. I put my palette on my desk, and they'll come in and go, "What are you doing?" "Oh, painting away."
That's kind of neat, actually, because, there's not a lot of professions, per se, where you can actually go into your day job and actually incorporate your passion into your day job. That's pretty out of the ordinary, I would think.
It's nice. That's one of the reasons I wouldn't want to give up the office. It's been tough. Everybody feels it, and as a tax person, I see it over and over again. And with my clients, people are losing their jobs. People have had cutbacks, and it's the same with the tax business as far as like bookkeeping for companies. People, they cut us out. We're kind of an extra to them, and they'll get QuickBooks and have somebody, the wife or the husband or somebody, do the bookkeeping. So it's been difficult for many businesses, small businesses in all areas, and California is no exception. So my overhead here is expensive, but I don't want to give it up because, like I said, I can, have the shop, answer the phone for the tax business, and then still have all this beautiful light and everything to sit here and paint. So I'm going to keep doing that as long as I can.
I was going to ask, too, how that particular occupation has any kind of compounded effect on your creative endeavors, meaning, it's been difficult to try to balance the two, or does one conflict with the other?
Well, just that I miss being able to paint during tax season. It's that part's difficult. But as far as, I just switch over. I'm here, Laura Curtin, wildlife artist, and then over here I'm, Laura Curtin, tax lady. That's, you just kind of compartmentalize, I imagine. I don't have a problem with that. Just been doing it so long.
And for those, of course, who are in your area, what's the easiest way to get a hold of you, the bookkeeper portion of you? How do they get in contact with you if they'd like to?
Oh, they just call me at Hess Income Tax. You want my phone number here? 714.
Well, okay, I was going to say, if you want to give it, go ahead. No, if you want to give it, go ahead. But I'm like, okay.
It's 714-893-3108. That's the office phone number. We've had it here. We've been in this shopping center for 48 years. So if anybody is local to Westminster, they probably have, whether they noticed it or not, but seen the office. It's right on Beach Boulevard. We're just about 6 miles from the beach. Yeah, straight down Beach Boulevard.
Okay, gotcha. Now, I'd like to talk a moment about, you've described your process, and this is in your own words, meaning that you get a picture of an animal in your mind, and then you will keep seeing it until you get it on canvas. I'd like you just maybe to expand upon that a bit, maybe telling us if you've ever altered that process at all.
Well, that's the ideal way. When the inspiration comes to me, I start like that. Like I explained the alpaca. I saw it on Facebook, and the little smile on his face, and the fur looks so soft. So like right now, that is kind of stuck in the back of my head. I've got 2 paintings going on that I'm not going to get done before tax season. I have the some eagles that I'm doing, and the one that I'm painting for the video. So, but that alpaca is stuck there in the back of my mind, and I'll probably do some research on alpacas, just to see where they live in their natural environment, what it looks like. I've never painted one. That's part kind of exciting. So once I start figuring out where they live, what kind of landscape there is, then even though I have a couple of paintings to go, that one will start to form in my head of like where I want to put it, what kind of other, how many animals, how many alpacas, if there's going to be some birds or something. And then I have to find reference material because I really need to. I don't just like paint it out of my head. I do like to have a real, a good idea of even. I like getting the skeletal, really researching the animal. So like if it's turned a certain way, I would know where the muscles are on the animal, and it's a lot of things going on in my head at the same time. But it's on the back burner. So. That's how the ideal way of the inspiration goes. And like I said, sometimes I have to force it. Something hasn't happened where I have an idea of something fun, and I'll have to force some type of an inspiration. And when I do that, and I start looking for the reference material, there's lots of places now online where you can go buy the pieces. Like I probably have 5 to 20 photos or more in my paintings. Like if I want a certain type of, I'll finally see the picture that I want, and then I have to find the reference material to fit my picture. And it's not always it's not in the same reference material. There may be some kind of a mountain and then the trees and maybe some water and 2 or 3 alpacas, and they won't be on the same it's not going to be I'm not going to find a photo, and I never would want to, because it's more trying to fit what's in my head already. I'm trying to find the reference material to fit what's already in my head. Does that make sense?
It does make perfect sense, actually, to me. And I do. I understand exactly what you're talking about. One of the particular pieces which struck a chord with me personally was your desert tortoise.
Oh.
I'd be interested. I was going to say I'm interested to know maybe how this painting, if you can take us from how it went from being the blank canvas to becoming the masterpiece that it is now.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Thank you.
That was one of those that I wanted to do something different. I said, I want to do something different, and because I do, fur and animals with, fur or hair, and I thought I'll just finally came upon I'll do a turtle, a tortoise, and so I started looking for reference material, and the picture I had in my mind was a ground level, eye-to-eye picture of a tortoise with maybe some flowers and the desert floor and such, and I could not find anything that fit my vision on, in my usual reference sites that I go to, and so then I started branching out and looking on the internet, and I don't use people's photos without permission. It's just, they're artists too. So I finally found a couple of really nice photos of this desert tortoise, and it was on this photographer's website. So I wrote her and said, I explained to her what I wanted to do, and that I would pay her for them or whatever she liked. And she had this conservatory that in Arizona, I think it's called the Sonora Desert. I wish I had written that down in front of me. And she said if I would send them some prints, then she would allow me to use her picture. And I was like, well, this is a win-win. I'll send them prints that they want to sell in their shop, or they give them to donors who donate money, and she'll let me use her tortoise picture. That was just, that was perfect for me. So I did that, and she allowed me to use it. And then I found, 2 or 3 other, because I had to find the flowers. The flowers weren't in her original picture. It was just a real close-up of the tortoise.
Oh.
So I found some of the other pictures that were the ground and stuff. And I was kind of having a rocky time at home at that particular time, or, in my life. I was having kind of a everybody has them. And that particular painting, if you look at it, you'll see there's thousands of rocks in that painting on the ground. Oh. There's thousands of rocks. And I just sat there some days because I couldn't quite do anything else, and I just painted rocks. I just painted, they don't, you don't paint each rock individually from the start. It starts out with a block in, using all these different colors, and I used all these different colors in a larger brush, and built up this undercoat on all those rocks, and then I just would keep painting at them, and then I was really kind of frustrated with the turtle. It's like I've heard people tell me, they go, I can't even draw a straight line. And I'm like, well, neither can I. I don't draw straight lines very often, but that darn turtle, the shell, it's all geometric, and there's a bunch of straight lines on that turtle shell, and I was asking myself many times on that. I went, my goodness, why did you do this? Why did you pick this turtle? And then his face is so great. He has this giant nose, and his skin's all like leather, and it took me a while to finally see where the muscles attach. I was kept trying to, get the front leg, and then the head's turned, and then from the head to the front leg are these muscles, but I couldn't see them, and in order to paint them, I have to see it. And finally, one day, I was painting that, I went, oh, and all of a sudden I could see where the muscle was under, all the skin and stuff. So that was a nice breakthrough. And after that, he looked pretty, normal. So it was, that particular painting served, quite a good, it was very good for me at the time that I did it. I was very happy to have those rocks to paint.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, next question for you. Every particular artist that I've spoken to, and you might be different, maybe detail for us any particular individuals who serve as what I call it, for lack of a better term, like an art idol, somebody in the art world that has inspired you or enhanced how you've done your pieces or has just moved you in some way.
Well, there's a few, and I think one of the original ones was Robert Bateman. Robert Bateman paints animals that's what made me want to paint animals, was to paint like he does. There's just so much expression, and then there's the scenery, the atmosphere. I always wanted to be able to create the atmosphere that Robert Bateman puts in his paintings, whether it's an eagle flying in the fog or something, or a gorilla coming through the jungle at you. He really was my inspiration when I first started painting animals. And there's Chris Isaac, not Chris Isaacs, but I can't remember his first name. His last name's Isaac. And he's very, very, there's a lot of really, really exceptional wildlife artists out there, and I try to emulate them all, and they're the ones that keep me trying harder and harder to be better and better, just keep trying to be as good as what I think they are. Although I've never seen their work in person, it could look different in person, but that's who I would pick.
Okay, wonderful. I wanted to have a chat, of course, obviously, Langer Monkey's Day, which, of course, you have provided the illustrations for, which is a book. I wondered how you were approached to participate in that, and do you feel that you have like opportunities that might be coming in the foreseeable future? There's a book that comes out every year. It's called Artists and Graphic Designers Market, and each year, this year's is 2013 and 2012, and I picked up one of those books whenever that, around that time of that, and they're in there. There's listings of people who want people. It's like magazines that tell you what they want. Children's books that they're looking for a particular type of artwork. So I'd gotten that book, and I went through and found some, children's books that they wanted wildlife art. So back then, I had put together a portfolio and a cover letter, and I sent it out, and I received a call right away from the publishers of that book, and they wanted to use my stuff, and I was like, very, very excited. I was probably jumping up and down, but that's really, and that book is still out, and I just bought one again this year for the first time since then, was to try and figure out if there's some place that I want to send my stuff to. Now, after I did that children's book, it was a very difficult endeavor. There was 12 original paintings plus a front cover and a back cover. And it had a conservator because the book had to be absolutely correct for the Langer monkey in Ranthambore, India. And this guy was a professor at a college in San Diego, and he had to okay
all the drawings, and he would have to okay the paintings and before they could go in the book, but he was busy all the time. So he didn't okay my drawings for that book until Christmas, which put the paintings that had to be done, I had to paint them during tax season.
Oh, my.
So I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd come to work here in Westminster. I'd set up my easel. I'd paint. And then I'd work a 12-hour day and then go home and do that every day. So,
oh my God.
And it was still, he kept not saying that it wasn't correct. So it was a very, very difficult endeavor, and it finally did get completed. And they don't pay a lot, which at the time I didn't care at all. I just wanted to be published. That was the goal. It wasn't the pay, and that happened. It got published, and it's a book that's published like that is in the Library of Congress, you know, and so the book that I illustrated is there, and that's like that's the best part of it. I also had a client that sold books to schools, and he got me another book to do with a different publisher, although it was the same circumstance. They needed it during tax season, and I had to decline. They have in May, I think, is in the early summer, in spring and summer, they have their children's shows that come out with all the new books, and so everything has to be done at the first of the year. So the timing for the children's books just doesn't work for my other business. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I understand that, definitely. And so how exciting is that? I remember the first time I was published. It's just that excitement that goes along with having established something that is in print that's got your work on it. It's just an amazing feeling.
It was. It was so great. And it came out with a cassette tape and a little stuffed animal. You know, there's a little Langer monkey, too. I know.
Oh, that is so cool. And I know that can be, if memory serves me correctly, that is still available on Amazon.com. Is that correct?
It is. It is.
Okay.
I got paid a flat fee, so there's no. And I think they revamped it too. I heard they had written me at one point and said that they were going to redo it, make it into one of their larger sized books, and then cut some of the pages out and put it out again. And they were going to send me some, but I didn't ever get anything from them after that.
I see.
But it's out there.
It is out there. That's the important thing. And you did it, and that's the important thing. And you did it lovely. My very last question, too, I wanted to ask, maybe to those that might be listening that are aspiring art students or individuals that are contemplating the idea of getting into the field, what advice might you maybe pass along to them relative to pursuing a career such as this?
Well, pursuing a career as an artist?
Yes, correct.
Just do it as soon as you can. Don't wait if that's what you want to do. I mean, life gets in the way, and you end up doing what you have to do so many times rather than what you want to do. So I think maybe the thing would be, like, it's not too late. If even, you know, these aspiring artists, if you're thinking in my case, you know, older, go ahead, still do it. Don't think that it's too late to really give it all you have. Recognize that now that you have some ambition to succeed in a field that you weren't in before, or if they're going into it, be sure and realize that in the art world, as in any kind of art world, or there's a lot of rejection, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, people don't like your stuff. I did a holiday boutique this year, and this guy was looking at my American bison, and he loved this print. He wanted to get it. It was a big print. He really, really loved it. And his girlfriend, wife, or what, came over, and he's like, "What do you think? What do you think?" And she goes, "I hate it. I don't want anything on my walls I could eat." And I'm standing there. And he's going, "You hate it?" She goes, "I hate it." And so once again, I know, and I just kind of looked at her. But once again, you just have to realize, all people aren't going to like your stuff. So develop a thick skin if you want to be an artist. There's going to be a lot of rejection. And enjoy the times when people do like it. I'm so uncomfortable when people tell me that they like my stuff. That's the part that I think you should maybe learn how to develop, to be gracious of a compliment and shed the negative, and it's nothing's easy, as in any kind of career choice. I'm sure that you have to work at it, and every overnight success probably has 10 years or so at least behind them before they're successful.
Very true. Actually, very good words of wisdom, my dear. Well, Laura, I have to tell you, you made it to this interview. You didn't die from your cold. You actually sound much better now than you did an hour ago, which is good.
A rocky start there.
It's a rocky start, but this happens a lot. Once you get into the swing of things, things go excessively very well. And I don't want to forget to tell everyone. Now, Laura has a Facebook page, which is actually Laura Hess Curtin, spelled C-U-R-T-I-N.
That's my regular. That's the regular.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The other one is Laura Curtin Wildlife Art. And then actually my website is just lcurtin.com. And they can
Take the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, they can just go see everything there. That's probably because you can get to my Facebook page and everything from my website, and then you can check out, my son's fantastic website that he built me.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. And I know that you're on Twitter also, which is the handle at Laura M. Curtin, in case you want to follow Laura and see what endeavors she has going on. And I just wanted to double check. The Etsy.com profile, is that still active as well?
Yes. Yeah, I still have my Etsy store up. I like that little store, so I have a couple hundred things there. I take pictures of nature and photos of flowers, too. So if you look through my website, I have hundreds. I can't stop myself. I
Good for you. You know what? That is wonderful. And my parting words to you are going to be that I find it not only is your art absolutely amazing, but you're just a very charming lady, and you have an immense passion for what you do, and I admire that so very much. I do that amongst you and the many musicians and artists and people that I consider myself to be friends with. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come here. Thank you to Michelle McGee, who we hope is listening, because I told her to today. She's a wonderful publicist and just an amazing individual.
Well,
I appreciate her doing work with me.
I hope they all came in late.
Yeah, no kidding, exactly. And, of course, just to remind everybody, obviously, if you cannot listen live, which I've said this before, moments after we get off air, of course, this becomes an archived episode. So at any given point in time, someone can come back and take a listen to the live interview. And to you, Laura, I can just say, please, at any point in time, if you'd like to come back to the show, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, not a problem at all. You have a wonderful New Year if I don't talk to you before then.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, dear. You take care.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And again, like I said, I just want to say thank you one more time to Laura Curtin. She was an absolutely very gracious guest. I know that she was having a difficult time there and she's not feeling well, but certainly I think we managed to cover some great ground. Please, I cannot stress enough to go ahead and check out Laura's Wildlife. Check out all that beautiful work that she has done. She's an amazing artist, and she's done just a tremendous amount with her career with having to balance the two jobs. Just as a heads up, I want to let you know my next radio show is going to be on Wednesday, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. I will post all the information up on that shortly, as well as all of Laura's contact information, so that this way everybody can get in contact with her. So obviously I won't be speaking to you before the new year, so just to let let you know. I want to say thank you so much to everybody who has taken time to either listen or go back and listen, who has helped me facilitate my interviews over the course of time, individuals who are coming up on the show that I'm very gracious to be having. Last note here before I let you off the hook, just affiliated myself with a brand new radio station, which is going to be up and running as of next week. If you get a chance to go on Facebook and check out Sam Crow Radio. Basically what that is it's going to be a combination of both music as well as live interviews that I will be doing on a separate station, and these are going to be all Sons of Anarchy cast members, and that's from the hit show Sons of Anarchy. And that would be past, present, and future individuals for the show. So I'd greatly appreciate it if you would check that out and provide your support to my new endeavor. I'm very, very excited about it, so thanks so much to Sam Crow for giving me this opportunity to have another show. I cannot wait to get started on it. So again, Happy New Year to all of you, and I will be talking to you next year. Thanks.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.